Good evening, shortcuts. Here we are, video 2 for the shortcuts price list that will go out on the 12th of March at 9 p.m. That's this Wednesday, 9 p.m. Sydney time. This is the classic rock and pop list, and man, does this fit the bill. I'm starting off with something pretty special, so get ready. And then it's pretty much uphill from there. So I'm really happy with this list. I think it's got some really interesting stuff. So if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. If you would like to be on the price list, got all of the records you're about to see will be for sale this Wednesday, 9 p.m. Drop me an email, shortcutsrecordsaus@gmail.com. Okay, the first record I'm going to show you is sealed, but I'm going to show you my copy, okay? This is the Vinyl Me Please copy of Master of Reality by the mighty Black Sabbath. I'm just going to read the Vinyl Me Please intro. AAA lacquers cut from the master tapes by Ryan Smith at Sterling Sound. Pressed on exclusive 180-gram Purple Orchid splatter vinyl. Listening notes by Andy O'Connor and includes a poster. Now, why is this record so incredibly iconic? And why is this record so controversial? Firstly, why is it so iconic? Master of Reality, Black Sabbath's third record, classic opening, Tony Iommi coughing after pulling on what clearly must be a spliff. Sweet Leaf, one of the greatest opening tracks of an album of all time. Down-tuned guitars, seriously dark and groovy and grungy riffs. Everything about this record was about taking guitar noise to new depths. And basically, this is the record that spawns stoner metal, spawns groove metal, and a bunch of others. It's tracks like Children of the Grave, Into the Void. Everything about it screams cult classic. Except now it's not a cult classic. It is a full-on mainstream classic. Even though the reviews were a bit sniffy at the time, it is standout, bloody incredibly awesome, and one of the great hard rock records of all time. Now that's why it's so great. Why is this record so controversial? Well, this was Vinyl Me Please's rock stream record. It was their seventh. Can you see this? It says RR Vinyl Me Please Rock 007. It was the seventh record that they'd put out on their rock stream. And I can't quite remember, but I'm going to guess it was like January or February of last year. So 15 or so months ago. It sold out in a heartbeat. Now, and that's where I managed to get a copy. I was lucky. So I'm going to show you mine, which is a bit closer. Firstly, the Black Sabbath Master of Reality. Can you see that it's kind of this... I don't quite understand how exactly they've done it, but it's not quite a textured sleeve, but it's got a raised, kind of smooth groove to it. It looks absolutely spectacular back and front. This is the Obi. It comes with it. And I'm just going to quickly show you the vinyl, because the vinyl is beautiful. And it sounds so good. Oh my God. I have a Japanese copy. I have a UK copy. This is the best one. And looks like this. Look. Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. Pressed at RTI. It's just an astounding achievement. This is the poster. Many of you will know the poster because it plays it kind of plays off the original poster that came with the record. And then finally, the listening notes. Now, the listening notes are an accompaniment to the record that kind of talks you through how and why it sounds the way it does, how Iommi lost his finger, how this record became so influential. The author, Andy O'Connor, heads Spin's monthly metal column Blast Rights and writes for Pitchfork, Decibel, many others, lives in Austin, Texas. It's a really nice piece of writing, and it really complements the record. When it sold out, Vinyl Me Please said, we'll print some more. And it took them 15 months to print them. That arrived yesterday. Of course, the few extra that they've been able to print are gone. It's sold out. You can't get it, except I have a sealed copy. So that's pretty special. Last year, Rhino High Fidelity put out a version of Sabbath's debut album that I thought was probably going to end up being my favorite release of the year. When I reflect on last year, I listened to that Master of Reality more. And it's great. And it's beautiful. Cannot rave about it enough. All right, how do you follow that? Well, you follow that with two of the best records of all time. I have something I have only very, very rarely. It is the Solid Blue Triangle, Japanese first press of that little known record, Dark Side of the Moon. If you want to know more about presses of Dark Side of the Moon, look in my channel. I did a video back in January of a year's research into the best presses of Dark Side of the Moon, and I've got a word or two to say about those blue triangle, dark blue or full blue triangle presses. Suffice to say, it's great. You can't go wrong. It's got its fans. Some people think that it's the best. I personally like the third press a little bit more, but it's still fantastic. I said there was one other. All right, how about this? This is my favorite pressing of Led Zeppelin 4. It is the one that I listened to. I listened to it on Saturday when this arrived. There were some of you who came to pick up records and you heard me playing it. This is the P10125A press. Go on Discogs, look up the reviews. You will see people comparing this record favorably to the famed hot press pressed by Robert Ludwig in the US or even early UK. I think this is the best Japanese press, and it's a similar reasoning that I give for the third press being the best Dark Side of the Moon. It is, I think it may even be the third. They've learned their lesson, and it's plentiful. So it's not expensive, and you get a super high quality record. Now, what is even better is they sent me a note. This is an unplayed single from 1970 or 71 of, I'm just going to pull it out. I have not played it, so it maintains its Black Dog, and on the flip side is Misty Mountain Hop. It is, of course, by a quite considerable margin, the cleanest single by Led Zeppelin I have ever seen. It is like a little mini version of the record. It is absolutely pristine. It includes the original Atlantic sleeve. So this is my Led Zeppelin 4 bundle. My favorite Led Zeppelin 4 version and an absolutely pristine single. Well, good luck chasing that. I think that'll go in about 5 seconds flat. Okay, let's talk about some records that maybe aren't so familiar. What about this? This is a lost... I've got a couple of records in a row here that are a little bit lost, but are really good. This is Mirage by Fleetwood Mac. This is what the band put out after Rumours and after Tusk. What do you do? Well, they went a little bit experimental and... Well, no, they went experimental in Tusk, and this record brought them back to that style that we kind of know and love. And you've got some great tracks on here. Gypsy, I think, is probably the greatest, although Christine McVie, who is my personal favourite member of Fleetwood Mac, has some absolute crackers on here. Hold Me, Love in Store. As Nick, who's a member of Wildly Pleased, said to me earlier, there is real pleasure in exploring lesser known albums of great artists. And this is one of those. All right, I am going to show you another lesser known album by an artist of some renown. Now, this is the Japanese first press of one of these or one of those nights. One of these nights. But you can't tell, but this is all textured. It's a really beautiful sleeve, actually. Far more beautiful than I'd ever really anticipate, because I don't really know this record. I'm not a massive Eagles fan, but I'm going to tell you what I am a fan of in a second. This is, I think it's their, what did my research say? It's their 4th studio album. And this is the one that surprised me. The album that I knew of the Eagles when I was growing up was a cassette that was in my dad's car, which was the first, that kind of blue compilation of, was it 71 or 75 or something? And it opened with a track called Lion Eyes. I have always loved that song, and I did not know that Lion Eyes is the opening track of side 2 of this album, and that the track that follows is Take It to the Limit, which was probably in the other kind of 1 or 2 Eagles songs that I really, really latched onto, and they're both there, and on side 2. And on side 1, These Nights, Too Many Hands, Hollywood, Journey of the Sorcerers. This is a really unusual circumstance, because Lion Eyes went on to win the Grammy for Best Vocal Performance by a duo group in 1976. But Take It to the Limit was the only Eagles song that they allowed their bassist Randy Meisner to sing lead vocal on. And, you know, that became one of their staples. Yeah, really fantastic and an underappreciated thing. This next album, I'm going to put it in the same bucket. And this has a little Japanese quirk that's part of why I love this club, because it allows me to find these little things about how the Japanese thought about curating records, creating a collection, caring for what they'd bought, because they put us to shame. And it is this. This is Make It Big by Wham, 1984. This is one of these records that kind of flips like this. I'm just going to remind you that what is on this record, because, of course, the pop sensibility of Wake Me Up Before You Go is all there. The closing track of Wham! Make It Big is one little known track called Careless Whisper. Even though it was primarily, well, almost completely, a George Michael solo performance. Now this includes the booklet, which is in fantastic condition, but it also includes something that none of us will have seen before. So when Wham! Were touring Japan in 1983, you could purchase backstage passes, and this is what you got. Can you see? Access all areas. The Club Fantastic Tour of 1983. Venue date authorized by. So you needed to get it signed off. This is a sticker. You can see the peel off is still there. It's never been peeled. It says peel off and stick. So I suppose it probably wasn't an official backstage pass, but it was probably something that the Japanese kind of replicated and then placed in the record, lost to time, and every so often you might find one that has it. I can't find any reference to it on Discogs, although I probably should look again just to make sure. but there it is. Make It Big. Wham! One of the top-selling pop albums of the 80s, north of 10 million copies. And talking about extras, this is Captain Fantastic, the Japanese first press of the Elton John classic. And this has got all sorts. It's obviously got the lyric sheet, but it also has the book. And the book is worth price of entry alone. Photographs from his childhood, where he lived, how he learned piano. It is really a beautiful, beautiful thing. The record itself is in fabulous condition. Gotta be in probably Elton's top 3 or 4. That is Captain Fantastic by Reginald Dwight, aka Elton John. That's a lovely nick. All right, a few more classic records to go. How do you follow up a classic rock record named after a Marx Brothers film? You release another one named after another Marx Brothers film. This is the hard cardboard gatefold of Queen's A Day at the Races. There's the gatefold. This, of course, is Tie Your Mother Down, You Take My Breath Away, Somebody to Love, Find Me Somebody to Love. So this is that record, and it's cheap and it's great. I am about to elevate this next record to Shortcuts Royalty. It hasn't quite hit the 50 mark, but it's pretty close. 40 odd of us have brothers and sisters, the Allman Brothers, the record they released after the unbelievably tragic death of Duane Allman, and featuring literally classic after classic. They brought their families together to cope with what had happened and produced this album, and it's wonderful. And on this record, you've got, let's see, Ramblin' Man and Jessica. It's just great. I love the hard cardboard. It's in fabulous nick. Great record. Led Zeppelin 1, great record. For those of you who like to explore, this is the P8041A variant. Also in lovely, lovely, lovely condition. Led Zeppelin 1. You might not be as familiar with this next record. This is Blue Hawaii by Elvis, the Japanese first press. Now, it is one of these booklet records, so it's got a whole bunch of photos of stuff. Elvis on the inside. It's hard cardboard, as you might expect. But why have I selected Blue Hawaii? Well, I do like soundtracks. By 1961, Elvis was beyond phenomenon. He was fully fledged cultural lodestone. This is a guy who was a movie star, a singer-songwriter, a celebrity. He was everything. And this was the record where he leaned into a little bit of Tropicalia. So you do get that kind of Hawaiian ukulele effect all the way through this. But it has several songs that just became and are classics almost immediately. Can't Help Falling in Love is an example. Rockahula Baby was kind of that signature energy. Look, I know this is a little bit more friendly pop than he had been in his kind of Sun Studios career. Not quite as rock and roll, but this record had 20-something weeks at number 1 in the Billboard charts, one of the biggest stints ever in the number 1 position. You gotta, if you've any inclination or any inkling about trying to understand Elvis in this period, Blue Hawaii just kind of flips to the top of the list. It is a really interesting listen, and a bit of a bold move for him, to be frank. in terms of what he tried to do. But, you know, pretty much everything he did, he succeeded. All right, talking about succeeding, Magical Mystery Tour, the underappreciated, but not by shortcuts, loved by loads of UFO and by me, Magical Mystery Tour by the Beatles. Now, this is a copy that has the full book. You can see it all there. I think it's 24 pages of psychedelic Beatles madness that you can listen along to while grooving to some of their best ever songs. And, you know, I don't say that lightly. I'm just going to grab the track list. So, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize. It is red translucent vinyl. Holy moly. Look at that. Magical Mystery Tour, The Fool on the Hill, Your Mother Should Know, I Am the Walrus, just that little known song. And the Walrus, and on the other side, Hello Goodbye, Strawberry Fields Forever. Do you know that one? Penny Lane, I think I've heard of it. All You Need Is Love. It's familiar. It'll come to me. Wow. Red translucent as well. Incredible. Didn't even know. And talking about surprise and delight features, this I'm finishing with the mighty Diesel and Dust Midnight Oil. This is a great copy, and I'm not going to unfold it because it's massive, but it includes the poster, and the poster's in perfect condition. So there you have it. Sabbath, Zepp, Beatles, Elvis, Queen. It's a classic rock list. And you've got Wham. Don't underestimate Wham. That album is great. All right. If anyone would like to know more, hit me up. Leave me a comment, hit a subscribe. If you want to be on the price list, drop me an email, shortcutsrecordsaus@gmail.com. There you have it, my friends. I hope to see a load of you at the Hotel Stain on Sunday. For those of you who have bundles of records here, if you want me to bring them, make sure and let me know. There we have it. Over and out for one more week. Sayonara.